afternoon, Cedarfield family. I hope this day finds you well. January 25th, Monday at 3 o'clock. You are listening live here today. Thank you for tuning in, taking time out of your busy schedule. And again, if you are listening to this video tonight, we appreciate you taking time out of your personal life. Those of you that are Pinnacle Advantage members, team members, spouses of team members, residents, and or families, power of attorneys, thank you for tuning in tonight and taking time out to hear some information about the following. One, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the current situation here in the Commonwealth of Virginia and in and around our area. That data will bleed into the facts and figures for Cedarfield. Talk a little bit about COVID-19 education. Talk a little bit about the vaccine distribution from last week and moving forward. Talk a little bit about our evolving preparedness plan currently in place. And then lastly, we'll go through some frequently asked questions. So if you have any questions, we do have a couple of questions that have come into the administration suite earlier today that we will share some answers with. And if you hear on this yellow sign, if you want to text any of your questions, please feel free to do so. We'll get to any and all questions before 4 o'clock today. So first, current situation in the Commonwealth of Virginia and our surrounding area, January 25th, the 7-day positivity rates. In the Commonwealth, we have a 12.2 7-day positivity rate. That is actually down from 12.9 when we reported out on Wednesday of last week. In Central Virginia, the numbers have increased since last Wednesday. That 7-day positivity rate is 16.8. And last Wednesday, that number was 15.4. That is not the highest it's been. In Central Virginia, we've been as high as almost 22% back in January 13th. Henrico County is at 10.6. That is an increase from last Wednesday of 10.2. Richmond is at 7.5, and that has been the lowest that Richmond's been at throughout the entire month of January. And Chesterfield also declined at 12.9, their 7-day positivity rate, from 13.8 a little while ago on Wednesday. And again, looks like the whole month of January, that's the lowest that Chesterfield has been. So some good news, bad news in there. Many of those 4 out of 5 of those metrics are still double digits, which causes the Virginia Department of Health to really continue to work with us in our evolving preparedness plan. And a couple of those numbers have increased. 2 of those numbers have increased. So here locally, our current COVID status as of just 10 minutes ago is as follows. In our North household, we currently have 4 positive residents that with COVID-19, and all of them are doing, 3 of them are doing very well. One of them has some mild symptoms, so our prayers and thoughts are headed to one particular resident in the North household. So if you can continue to do that, that would be great. And there are a couple of residents who actually cycled off last week. There were 4 residents that cycled off. There are 0 team members in the North household that are COVID positive. In the Central neighborhood, we don't have any resident or team member that is positive or any tests that are positive. We still have 1 resident that is under isolation and due to a quarantine from a hospice nurse and that resident is doing well and should come off of quarantine here on Wednesday. But again, that resident is not positive. So the central household is doing very well as of this 3 o'clock hour. The south household, again, there are 0 cases of COVID with the residents. We do have three team members that are positive in the south household. And those team members are under quarantine at home and won't be back for at least another 8 days. And those 3 particular people are doing very well. In assisted living, we have 0 cases of COVID-19 with the residents, and we have 0 positive cases with the team members, although we have 2 team members that have what we call is an in-home exposure. They have been exposed to COVID-19 because of an event inside of their house, and those 2 team members are under quarantine in their home and not due back. One will be due back tomorrow, is her isolation period, so that's good news. And the other individual will not be back until the middle of February, if not longer, given circumstances in that particular in-home exposure. And Sunshine Plaza, our memory support area, we have 0 cases of COVID-19 with the residents. We do have 1 resident that is under isolation because of that hospice exposure that I keep referring to over the last 2 weeks. And we have 1 team member who is positive due to an in-home exposure. So that person will not be back until next week. We've talked about that case all of last week. So healthcare is, I consider, a red dashboard. Assisted living and memory support, more trending green, kind of like a lime green color right now with caution about residents moving about the community and or visitors coming on special occasions. If anybody has any questions in memory support and or assisted living or the healthcare about our protocols right now, please feel free to reach out to the neighborhood leader in one of those 5 neighborhoods, and they will answer any and all of your questions. In the housekeeping, so we're still on the Cedarfield dashboard here. Housekeeping is making a great comeback. Team members are feeling great that we're under isolation and we're positive over the last 3 weeks. We still have 2 people, one that was supposed to come back today, but she's still not quite feeling right, so she is at home today. And we have another team member who had an in-home exposure last week, so that person will be out through the first part of February. But housekeeping is doing very well. They have cycled through their outbreak from a month ago, and they're getting back to normal. But I consider housekeeping a green dashboard at this point. In resident services and wellness and leisure, we have 0 cases, 0 pending cases. In marketing, we have 1 in-home exposure. There's a team member out through the middle of February. Pastoral services, it's a green dashboard. Maintenance is a green dashboard. Administration is a green dashboard. Human resources is a green dashboard. And the business office is a green dashboard, which leaves us to dining services. Our dashboard is red at this point. We currently have 11 positive cases. 1 of them will cycle off today, so that will leave us with 10 starting tomorrow. And we have 2 people that have a call, again, is an in-home exposure. So we have our eye on 12 people right now in dining services. So that is our COVID-19 dashboard for Cedarfield. I want to move right into COVID-19 education. I call it the Mythbusters. So for those very few residents that have not taken the vaccine, and or team members that are listening tonight or today, or spouses or partners or those loved ones that have somebody that works here tonight listening to this video, that maybe we're trying to help cross the finish line here in the next week so they can get their first vaccine next week. I have 6 vaccine Mythbusters. Myth number 1, the vaccine was rushed and it is not safe. Vaccine fact that goes along with that myth is that the researchers took no safety shortcuts. Large studies show that the vaccine is very safe. Myth number 2, the vaccine changes your DNA. The fact that goes along with that Mythbuster, it is impossible for the vaccine to change the DNA, the cells within our body. It is impossible. This really works around the protein of the cell. Vaccine myth number 3. The vaccine can give you COVID-19. The fact around that myth is that the vaccine does not contain a live virus strain. Particularly those of you that are in dining services are wondering that we have this little outbreak, but yet so many team members in dining services received their vaccine, and now that we have people that are positive, and the answer to that is very simple. We did not have enough time for someone's body to get to 95%. We did not have chance for the vaccine to get into someone's body to increase to the 95% effective rate. And so so if somebody did have an exposure, there's a possibility that, a greater possibility that someone could become positive, because at that point, we're really only about 10 days into that first vaccine, which leaves anyone that is on the property who received the vaccine early probably immune at about, or effective rate of about 50% at this point. Okay, myth number 4, that the vaccine contains egg protein. The fact that goes along with that, it does not have egg protein, and therefore people that have egg allergies are certainly feel free without any reservation to receive the vaccine. Myth number 4, that the vaccine causes severe side effects. And the fact that goes along with that myth, for most, the vaccine causes mild side effects that resolve itself in a few days. For most people, 99% of the population. And myth number 6, that if women take the vaccine, it'll make them infertile. And that the fact that goes along with that is that there is no evidence that suggests that the vaccine causes infertility. And so those are our Mythbusters for today. If anybody has any questions about those Mythbusters, please feel free to reach out to, we're going to make a very concentrated effort this week to connect our medical director and our clinic nurse to any questions that people have this week to help those folks cross the finish line if they need that level of education. So our medical director, Dr. Varanian, and Dr. Shear, Ann Hopper, and our clinic infection control nurse, Connie McGowan, stand ready and able to answer any and all questions this week. We had a conference call at 8:30 that talked about their involvement this week in helping with education. So as a result of those positive cases, particularly in dining services, just a couple of tidbits here about our evolving preparedness plan. We are testing weekly in dining services at this point for everyone, asymptomatic and symptomatic team members. Additionally, because we have equipment here at the property to test folks on the fly, we have those rapid tests, we are providing rapid tests for the smallest little symptom that a team member might have. Some team members said, oh, my sinuses are acting up, or I just had a sniffle, or any little tiny symptom that pops up, we are testing what would be known as a symptomatic person. So we have that testing going on and have had it going on for the last 2 weeks. In dining services, I just want to repeat something I said last week. It's of note that the spread of COVID-19 is a person-to-person spread through respiratory droplets, particularly when someone's coughing and sneezing and singing or talking loudly. However, there is no evidence that suggests at this point that the virus is transferred through food product, food packaging, and delivery of food. Again, that's why so many restaurants are open in the general area. It's why supermarkets are open, because there is no known research and cases of that nature. It's an extremely, extremely low occurrence where that someone could actually receive the virus through food handling, food preparation, and food packaging and delivering. So I can tell everyone without a shadow of a doubt that we have some very strong infection control going on in dining services right now. Vigilant infection control with cleaning. The teams are wearing their face shields, N95 masks, constantly washing their hands, wearing gloves, changing gloves out. And so the team is really working hard to break the chain. The good news is we don't know of any other cases around the community that we've contact traced as a result of dining services. So all that is good news. We continue to operate on a scaled menu right now because of the culinary and hospitality shortages because of this outbreak in the dining department. If anybody has any questions about this evolving preparedness plan, please feel free to reach out to me. I can answer any and all of your questions about dining. We want Jim Veneer and Steve, who are at the helm of managing the department, to really manage the department. So again, anyone that has any questions, families that are listening, residents that are listening, or anyone else, if you have questions about our dining services protocol, please filter them through me, and I'll get back to you just as quick as I can, I promise. Okay, I'm going to shift to our vaccine distribution. Next 5 minutes, just talk about the distribution. As hopefully everyone received a call from me on Saturday, and just thanking you for making it happen. I sincerely mean it when I say that the residents made it happen. The best plans only will come to life with everyone participating in that plan. So we cannot, Renee and Matt Dameron and the rest of the leadership team, Ann Hopper, cannot thank you enough. The residents that are out there, the family members who supported the residents, your patience was unbelievable. How happy you were to be here, how prepared you were to be here. Everyone had their crossword puzzles and or their newspapers or their books, and you had something to occupy your time. We really appreciate it. The pharmacists were overwhelmed with the number of thank you notes that they received and or cards. So thank you for treating our pharmacists in a very dignified manner. I appreciate that. We did learn a couple of lessons. For those of you that were the residents in the cottages, for those of you that went down to the clubhouse, we had a little late start down there. We were under the impression that when they said 9 o'clock start, that meant, as Renee calls it, shots in the arm. And so that did not really happen in the clubhouse. That team did not get here until about 8:30, and they were assembling their supplies here in the fellowship hall. So our question, to just reassure ourselves about the timeline, is next time we roll out phase 2, we're working with Walgreens to make sure that 9 o'clock means that the pharmacists are ready to go, not mixing, but they're ready to provide a shot in the arm. But the team down there of Cedarfield team members really helped get them back on track to keep our schedule. So, but we did learn lessons there. And the second lesson we learned down at the clubhouse was if we really needed to employ Plan B and have chairs out there because many people were waiting outside in 35-degree weather. So good news is, with this vaccine distribution last week, we don't know there are 0 severe allergic reactions that happened throughout the weekend. We did have some nurses on standby here overnight into Saturday and then through Sunday as well. So all went well with 0 allergic reactions. If anyone has any other suggestions of how we can make the next vaccine distribution day flow a little bit better, please, or if you have suggestions or comments of what went really well, we'll welcome them as well and make sure that we hit on them, because we have 4 more days, to be honest with you, of rolling out a second vaccine for everyone that has received it. Plus, there will be some people on the property who will receive their first vaccine coming up, and then in the early part of March receiving their second vaccine. So we actually have 4 more dates where we will actually be organizing, planning, coming up with logistics to make sure that we reach what I hope is beyond a 90% participation rate across the community. Speaking of participation rate, we really have a great participation rate. Again, thank you to the residents of Cedarfield. You have made a significant dent in that participation rate. And as of this very moment, I can tell you that we have had participation from not only the residents and obviously the team members, but Health Pro Heritage, our therapists have been involved. Security down at the gatehouse, they have been involved. The folks at the bank have been involved. We've had private duty personnel involved, and our physicians, 3 of our physicians here. So it looks like through this dashboard here that we have assembled over the weekend, if this trend continues, and if the trend continues of the maybes that we would convert to yeses over this next week, we probably will get to a 90% plus participation rate across the campus, which is just music to my ears. I'm sure it's music to everyone else. Which leads me into one of the frequently asked questions here in a couple of moments about what does herd immunity mean for Cedarfield? Again, I just want to emphasize that the first shot, we have 12, the research suggests that it really takes about 12 days for our body to take in that vaccine and the ingredients and develop the antibodies up until the 12th day, where we would be 60% protected. After we receive the second shot, it'll take 7 days after that second shot to get up to 95% effective rate. And so don't let your guard down right now. Now more than ever. You know, they say most traffic accidents happen within 2 miles of your own home because we're letting our guard down and we're more comfortable, we're almost home. It's kind of the same thing. Don't let your guard down. Wearing masks are really critical. Good infection control is still critical. And staying physically distant 6 feet apart from one another is still really, really critical. What our intention is this week is to work with the epidemiologists of the Virginia Department of Health. Although they're very busy, there are some communities that still have not even received their vaccine, and there are many communities that have a couple of outbreaks, simultaneous outbreaks. So needless to say, the Virginia Department of Health is very busy. If they can, just by the grace of God, give us a couple of moments this week, my only question for them is, given our outbreak, I actually have 2 questions for them. Given our outbreak here at Cedarfield, and what we have, the information that we have given them, can they suggest anything else that we should be doing? That's my first question. My second question is to them, can we at least put on our calendar a date to talk about what does herd immunity mean for Cedarfield? So if we get to a 90% participation rate with the vaccine, then when can we start to unfold, and what type of things can we start to unfold back into services and amenities of Cedarfield, since we have what looks likely to be a 90+% participation rate. And so we just ask that you please be patient. We will, as soon as we know what we can do and what we can't do, we will communicate that to the community at large. One more thing before we take some frequently asked questions. Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Obviously, it's 3 weeks away. The 25th anniversary action team was planning a great Valentine's Day weekend. We had really just awesome plans for you to show you how much we care about the residents in this particular holiday. And because of this dining services outbreak right now, we are going to do the following. We're not going to let Valentine's Day just fly by. We are going to postpone a couple of our events for Valentine's Day. And at Cedarfield, we're going to name another day in the very near future as our Valentine's Day. And we're going to celebrate Valentine's Day together as a community once we get past this little outbreak in the health center and in dining services, and then steer clear from housekeeping. And then, like I said, celebrate it at another near date towards the end of the month, I'm hoping. So, I think that is it. Do we have any frequently asked questions, Renee? COVID positives, number in apartments and the number in cottages with residents. So the question that came in is, are there any what are the positive number of COVID cases in the cottages, and what is the positive number of cases in the main building? And the answer to that is 0 in both cottages and the main building. There are 0 positive cases with residents. Any other, is that pile going into the cubby box in a couple of minutes? So I'm going to end the day here on some great news, and I'll follow this great news up with some more color commentary here on Wednesday. Please, there'll be a memo posted in your cubby box and or your mailbox here in probably a half hour to an hour or so. It's really great news, and I would just encourage everybody to make sure you get to your cubby box to read this memo, and then we'll talk about the memo of what it means a little bit further and how it affects the community moving forward. So, any other questions, comments? No? Okay, that's it for me. If anybody has any questions related to the content of this live chat, please feel free to reach out. Our doors are always open to you. Until then, I hope you have a good night, a better Tuesday, and if I don't see you sooner than that, I will we'll talk here on a live chat on Wednesday no, we have a council meeting. There is a council meeting on Wednesday at 2 o'clock. So look forward to the council meeting, and in the meantime, we'll have another live chat here on Friday. Have a great night, and we'll talk with you soon. Thank you.